Hi, I'm Simone Meakin. I'm with the Geological Survey of New South Wales, and today I'm going to be talking to you about supporting the 3 R's of earth science education: rocks, relevance and rapture. In 2018, a new earth and environmental science curriculum was introduced in New South Wales. This included topics such as looking at renewable energy resources and their case studies, looking at the economic importance of non-renewable resources, investigating sampling and remote sensing methods which were used for discovery of such resources, also looking at rehabilitation of mining sites, and lastly, looking at Aboriginal methods of mining. So with these new topics, there was clearly a need for additional supporting material to assist teachers. Since 2015, the Geological Survey has been actively involved in outreach, promoting the awareness of geoscience to the public. We feel we have an important role to play in producing high quality educational materials about geoscience for the community. And since 2018, there has been a bigger focus on educational resources. Some of the educational resources that we've developed include geotrails, general interest publications and maps and apps that support geotrails. We provide expertise and speakers as required. We've developed some portable displays such as the one shown in the lower photograph, which demonstrates what elements are in mobile phones. We provide access to fossil and mineral collections at our W.B. Clarke Geoscience Centre in Western Sydney, shown up on the top photo. We've helped develop a pilot geophysical activity, and we liaise with ESWA and TSEP to assist them as required. As a result of our interactions with Earth Science Western Australia, or ESWA, they established the Australian Earth Science Education Organisation in early 2020. Their aim is to create innovative earth science experiences for teachers, further the recognition of earth sciences as a STEM subject, and also improve the talent pipeline for industry and demonstrate the career paths in geosciences. Also, they emphasise the importance of earth science in contemporary issues. As part of this program, an education officer was recruited for New South Wales, and we were lucky enough to find Susan. Susan is now based at the Geological Survey's W.B. Clarke Geoscience Centre in Western Sydney, where she produces support materials for teachers of Year 11 and 12 Earth and Environmental Science. Geotrails have proven to be really popular with the community and particularly with teachers. We launched the Port Macquarie Geotrail in 2018 and recently launched one for Newcastle. These are all collaborative projects. We work with universities, council, local Aboriginal land councils, and they are supported by a brochure, an app typically, and some web content. We also aim to train up local volunteers and teachers, and in this photo you can see a recent trip along the Newcastle Geotrail with some teachers. We do have more geotrails in the pipeline too. Like any good educational resource, the geotrails tell stories. At Newcastle, we explore 255 million years of Earth's history and look at how the rocks formed and plate tectonics and climate. We look at the way plants and animals have adapted to the landscape, and also the Aboriginal and European use of the resources.
The Newcastle Geotrail is a great place to learn about geological processes and geological time.
around 255 million years ago, it would have been a pretty exciting place. We would have had huge volcanoes erupting to the northeast. What we see now are 20 layers of volcanic tuff that originally was derived from ash that fell from the sky. We can see a split in the tuff rocks. This came as a sheet of molten basalt and deposited the Nobby's Dyke around 80 million years ago.
The Gondwanan forests of this time, of 255 million years ago, predate the dinosaurs by over 100 million years. We can see fossilised logs of a species called Dadioxylon, and in some places we can find the fossilised leaves of Glossopteris and other species.
Almost every kid I know has had a rock collection at one point in time. Every kid is really just a budding geologist who is waiting for a bit of information. The different fractures and the dike and the faults that are in the cliff behind me gives us a snapshot of what was happening below our feet when Australia and Zealandia were splitting apart from each other. A fault is a fracture in a rock where the two sides of the rock have moved relative to each other. And today now they're exposed for us to see it on the surface.
Prior to Europeans, the local Awabakal people used the coal in the cliffs for heating and cooking. We're here with the Dudley seam, which you can see in the cliff here. And this was actually the first seam mined by the Europeans. We had the local coal mined, used in the steelworks to make the steel, which was a really important part of the history of Newcastle and its development. Back in 1820, Major Morisset, the military commandant here in Newcastle, had the great idea to build his wife her own personal pool. When we walk down the stairs to the bogey hole, we're actually walking back in time. You've just put one foot in front of the other, you've gone 100,000 years back in time.
The Newcastle Coastal Geotrail was launched during National Science Week in 2020, and this was done by a public webinar which attracted over 400 people. It was really interesting to see that almost 16% of the audience were teachers. We know that since that time, the local teachers have been using the geotrail as a teaching resource, and also Susan has developed some educational resources to support the geotrail. Here's an example of one of the activities that Susan has produced, mapped to the year 1 to 12 syllabus. And how do you explore the Newcastle Geotrail if you'd like to? You can either download a brochure from our website or pick one up from the Visitors Centre or our office, or you can download the app which is called New South Wales Geotours. We're also working with Susan on other educational resources to support the curriculum. This example is our high-tech metal resources of New South Wales map on the left, and Susan has produced a number of activities for teachers that relate to that. This has been a really successful collaboration. Oz Earth Ed has produced over 50 activities in support of earth and environmental science teaching in New South Wales. All these activities are mapped to the New South Wales curriculum so that teachers can easily find them and use the videos and the web resources and the blog posts. The Geological Survey is continuing to provide support where we can, through publications, access to data, and also access to our state mineral and fossil collections. If organisations want to extend their reach, then creating resources in support of the Australian curriculum is a really good idea. It's mandatory for years K to 10, so the potential reach is quite enormous. It's a good idea to map these resources to the curriculum and create teaching packages or develop items specifically for the classroom. Yeah, it's really important to harness the children's natural curiosity around rocks and geology so that we will have a well-educated population that understands geological history and processes and resources and their relevance to modern issues. Working with experienced teachers and organisations that are recognised for education helps teachers to find and use the information. And finally, by advertising resources and events on social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter, greatly extends their reach and findability by teachers. Thanks for listening. A big thank you to Susan Filan of Australian Earth Science Education.